Guys, good morning. Welcome to Rashville Park. How many people, is this your first time in Rashville Park? Few people. Well, guys, welcome. Rashville Park is one of our latest parks that just opened a little over a year ago, and it's under the Waterfront Partnership umbrella. If you're not familiar with the Waterfront Partnership, we oversee a lot of healthy harbor initiatives, trying to make our harbor swimmable, which is in our near future. Things like eco tours, Mr. Trash Wheel. We also do a ton of programming here in Baltimore City. We have great programming like Waterfront Wellness, which we do 7 days a week, about 12 classes. We have programming like Baltimore by Baltimore, which is our first Saturday festival down at the amphitheater. So if you haven't already, you can meet Chelsea over at our table and learn more about all the amazing things that we have going on with Waterfront Partnership. Rashville Park, the space that we're in today, like I mentioned, is one of our newest parks. And when Kira and I were talking about this month's topic, wilderness, I thought to myself, I'm like, for a lot of us urbanites, the closest that we get to wilderness is our park spaces. And I thought this was a great use of this incredible park space. We have a really fun, interactive playground onto this side. We've got cool shade lawns. We've got the volleyball courts. And this is just phase one. There'll be a phase two of Rashville Park that will give us more activities and activations. So I hope you guys will stay connected. Thanks so much.
Good Baltimore morning, everyone. Thank you so much to Mel and Waterfront for hosting us. We're really excited to be here outside. We haven't done this, so hey, thanks for being here, getting our vitamin D in together collectively. We're really, really happy for you to be here. My name is Kira Wisniewski. I have the distinct honor and privilege of being the host and co-organizer of Creative Mornings Baltimore. And we're really excited to be here coming from you at the new Rash Field on the ancestral land of the Piscataway people here in our beautiful Baltimore City. But before we get started, I just want to say, remind ourselves all that Black lives continue to matter. Creative Mornings is currently in over 223 chapters around the world, 67 countries worldwide, and 27,000 morning people attend Creative Mornings every month. And our events are and always will be free, so thank you for being here. We're happy to offer ASL from our friends over at HASA. Hey, Theodore. And that is underwritten by Eddie's of Roland Park. We know if we want to live up to our mantra that everyone is invited and everyone is creative, we need to make our events as accessible as possible. And so shout out to Eddie's and Hassa for helping us get a step further. Eddie's of Roland Park is currently undergoing a landmark multi-phase renovation project. Brand new restrooms and a water bottle filling station were recently revealed to the customers, and a brand new meat and seafood department and gourmet to go are right around the corner with a self-service soup bar. Hey, grab and go packaged meats and a polished new look. Stop in soon to see what they have in store. Details and project updates at eddiesofrolandpark.com/remodel. Thanks, Eddie's. Our Chattanooga chapter chose this month's exploration of wilderness, and Holly Chaston illustrated the theme. So each month, we like to give a little more shine to someone truly special to the Creative Mornings community to read our Creative Mornings manifesto. And I'm really excited to be inviting Nikta Korsan to do the honors this month. Nikta has been checking you in and cheering you on. She is by day the program director at Live Baltimore and is it's almost time for the birthday bash, y'all. We're excited to be partnering with Live Baltimore to raffle off 2 pairs of tickets to the birthday bash right now. So I want to invite Nikta to tell you a little bit more and read the manifesto.
Good morning, everybody. Woo! Look at this beautiful day that we have. So grateful to be here with you all today. So I'm going to start with the manifesto. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty, and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a ding dang damn. I added that part, y'all. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in hugs, and high fives. I have plenty for you if you need them. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. Yay! So I don't know if you all know this, but at the end of July, it's Baltimore's birthday. It's turning a solid 293 years old, and we're very excited about it. And about 8 years ago, Live Baltimore realized nobody's throwing the city a birthday party. What is up with that? So we started to throw one, and can I tell you, it is so much fun. It is such a good time. It's the last Friday of July, and to really help ensure that the citizens of Baltimore City can celebrate this wonderful, wonderful city that we get to call home, we are raffling off, well, a version of raffling off 2 pairs of tickets to the party. It'll be July 29th at the brand new Lexington Market from 7 to 10:30. It's going to be an awesome time. And so can I get a little drum roll on thighs, please? And our winners are Arena Plank and Andy Smith. Woo woo! All right, y'all. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get your email addresses from Kira and Mario, and I'm going to hit you up, and you're going to get your tickets that way. For the rest of you, if you are interested in joining that party, there are flyers on that table behind April. April, raise your hand. Yep. And you can check out the QR code. It's a great time. Thank you all so much for helping us love city life and being incredible citizens and residents of Baltimore City. Have so much fun today.
Thank you, Nikta. Creative Mornings is run on an engine of generosity made possible by our volunteers and fueled by companies that give a damn about Baltimore. And so we are completely 100% volunteer run. So anybody who is wearing a yellow lanyard, thank you so much for being here today and helping make this event possible. I'm going to try to make eye contact with each of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you are interested in joining our team of volunteers, we would love to have you. Please talk to myself or Mario. Also, there's a volunteer sign-up form on our website if that is easier for you to do as well. We'd love to have you join our team of morning people. And I've said it many times before, but on a very personal level, I really love that we get to work with some of my personal favorite companies here in Baltimore City as sustaining partners. So I want to give a shout out to Adorn Vintage Furniture, who has staged our stage today. If you want to buy a bar stool right now and take it home with you, you can. Also, these baskets are for sale. They're only $15 each. What a deal. But yeah, I'm happy to connect you to Raina to make that happen. We also, of course, are happy to be working with HASA, Impact Hub Baltimore, Local Color Flowers, Maryland Art Place, Pixelated Photo Booth, White Tea Company. And then today, your breakfast was provided by Black Acres Roastery, White Tea Co., and Mira Kitchen Collective. So shout out to all of our sustaining partners. We also want to shout out our global sponsor, MailChimp, who is supporting all 200 plus chapters. You can see a list of all these generous partners on our website. Now more than ever, it's super important to be supporting local. So even if you can't monetarily support them, I really encourage you to like them on social media or give a positive review on Google. All of these things really are impactful for these small businesses. So please, going to give you all an action item to try to do at least one of these companies if you don't already. That would be truly wonderful. So wilderness, that's where we're outside for the wilderness in this wonderful glazed donut kind of sun right now. We are doing our first Audience Takes a Stage, which is very exciting, where we've invited our community to submit on how they connect to the word. We got a number of applicants, and so thank you all for really kind of be willing to try this out. We're going to do it again next year because we think it went pretty well. Hopefully you think so too. We have a great mix of stories and of people who are like connecting to the theme. Today we're going to be going to Utah, Bolivia, the NCR, and Lincoln Park, all right here. And we're really excited. So let us begin. I'm really excited to be bringing you our first speaker. Aisha Afadahala is co-founder of Mira Kitchen Collective. Before landing in Baltimore, Aisha was constantly on the move. She was born and raised in Kuwait, then moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Portland, Oregon. In between, she was hitchhiking in Iceland, camping in Salir de Uyuni, surfing in Hawaii, and biking in Madrid. For Aisha, every day is an adventure. She explores new and familiar places through conversations with others, walking, biking, and interacting with the environment. Creative Mornings Baltimore, please welcome Aisha to the stage.
Good morning. So my story today will be about running. After failing Spanish 101, my only option was go immerse myself in a new country in a new language. So I landed in Cochabamba, Bolivia. It's a city in central Bolivia surrounded by mountains known by its high elevation. To put that in perspective, where we are right now, it's around 480 above sea levels. However, Bolivia is at 8,000. So when I first landed in the airport, I could feel my breath, the difficulty of breathing. And then here comes my host mother with the sign of my name. We hop in the car, we go up, down the mountains. And our way home, where it's gonna be my home for the next few months, I asked, where can I run? And she said, oh, you can run in the avenue in front of the house. It runs for a few miles. And I was like, okay, I'm a casual runner, like 30 minutes a day. I'll usually, maybe with frequent stops. And I kind of get happy when the traffic light turns red and pretend like I'm running. You know how the runners do that when they're stopped? But the next morning I woke up with like the smell of orange cake and fresh grounded coffee. And over the morning ritual that we have, me and my host mother, she was like, we're having our first marathon in Bolivia, in Cochabamba, and I'm signing you up. And I'm about to choke on my coffee. I was like, oh my God, this woman thinks I'm actually a professional runner. I have this fake image that I have portrayed. Because, you know, when you're learning a new language, you like basically just say half few words to express yourself. And and I did not do a good job. So it was like, she was so excited that I couldn't say no. So in the next morning, it's in 2 weeks, so I have to do something. So the next morning, I woke up, my alarm clock rang at 6 a.m. I got out of the bed. It's cold, crisp weather. I go to the avenue that she pointed, and I see one other runner. He's a man in his 70s. He runs with a stick. I was like, let me just follow him, be that creep, follow him. He seems like knowing where he's going. So I kept doing that, being a freak every day, following this 70-year-old man. He runs with a stick. I never caught up to him. But we had this ritual of running silently, for sure. I'm behind, he's at the front. So the weekend before the marathon, my host mom was like, we need to bless you before you run. And I thought we were going to church. She's devout Christian. We're gonna maybe light some candles, maybe give some coins. But no, we went to the biggest hill in Cochabamba, which has like a huge statue of Jesus Christ, and it has 200 steps to get to the statue. And she's like, you have to run, so you're gonna be prepared. And I was like, oh my God, I thought we're going on an excursion. She's definitely pushing me to my limits. Then I run to the top. I felt like Rocky, but I was like passed out on the ground. I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen in the marathon. But I had health insurance, so what worse could happen? I never used my travel health insurance, so maybe it was my time. So the next morning, the night of the marathon, I haven't slept. I was nervous, questioning what I've signed up for, but it came, and then we packed our orange cake and coffee and like fresh sandwiches, and we went to the start, and then I realized the route is pretty hilly. I understood why she took me to that Jesus Christ, and we definitely needed the blessings. And it went up and down, 0.17 kilometers. I see my host mother and the grandchildren holding signs, and at 0.20, I saw my professor and my classmates cheering me on. what carried me through this experience is the mountains, is the new community that we have built around this new challenge, and that possibility that growth is around us. And what if nature is a reflection of our potential? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Dylan Salmon, who owns Dylan's Oyster Cellar, has spent most of his life in Baltimore. He's always been at home in the outdoors, whether exploring Stony Run as a kid or heading out to the Catoctin Mountain for some rock climbing. Dylan is in recovery and has been clean for over 2 years now, working a program in Narcotics Anonymous. He has found relief from the struggles of the city life through outdoor pursuits, and to this day tries to maintain a healthy balance of life in the wild versus time in the city, at work, and as a member of his Baltimore community. Creative Mornings Baltimore, please welcome Dylan to the stage. We want to make it higher?
Leave it in.
Or leave it in?
Yeah, it'll be
Just gotta
fine.
make it higher then.
Okay, cool.
Mario, how do you do this?
That's fine.
Oh, I did it.
Perfect.
Oh, look at that.
Hello, hello.
Oh. Something. Winston, I did something.
Seems fine.
Okay, I got it. We're good.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, guys. Hi, my name is Dylan. Thank you all so much for being here. Can you all hear me okay? It's fine. This is my power stance. All right, cool. So today, we're good.
I need some milk.
We're all good. I'm going to be talking about... Very good. Seems fine. Very cool. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for being here. All right, I'm going to talk about finding joy and learning outdoor stewardship through rock climbing and wilderness adventures around Baltimore. But first, to begin with, I'm going to read a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh from his book, The Miracle of Mindfulness. People usually consider walking on water or on thin air a miracle. But I think the real miracle is not to walk on water or in thin air, but to walk on earth. Every day we are engaged in a miracle, which we don't even recognize. A blue sky, white clouds, green leaves, the black, curious eyes of a child, our own two eyes, all is a miracle. So my exploration of the wilderness has taken me to some far-flung and beautiful places. I think about mountaintops. I was lucky enough to spend 2 weeks in the wilderness in Montana, hiking and rock climbing. I think about cliff faces. I've, done some multi-pitch climbs in Colorado, 200, 300-foot domes of granite, some desert climbs in Wyoming where you actually rappel down into a canyon with just rapids from side to side and climb out, wild rivers and deep woods. All along the way, I've learned to expand my comfort zone. So the more we go into the wilderness, the more we step away from what we know and what we're comfortable in, the wider our comfort zone grows. The cool thing about this is it kind of pushes us further and further. The more comfortable we are out there, we get increased comfort. We find this connection to something bigger than ourselves. It teaches us that we are part of a whole team of life, phenomenon, and events occurring on this wild planet. We are not a part of this wilderness, we are a part of this wilderness, not apart from it. And with this, I think, comes a good fostering of this stewardship of the land. Getting outside to gain an appreciation and desire to protect what we have. I think this is super important, especially for younger people, to get them outside, to get them to see what is out there, to get them to appreciate not to throw litter on the ground, and to care for what has been given to us. And I think, a lot of people think about wilderness as being, as I mentioned earlier, these kind of far-flung places, but a lot of my wilderness adventures began right here in Baltimore. I think back to my first outdoor camping trip was actually in Leakin Park. And I remember when I was a kid, I told my parents, yeah, we're camping out, we're overnight camping in tents and stuff, it's gonna be really cool. And my mother, who was a public defense attorney in Baltimore City for like 25 years, she was like, where is it? I was like, it's in Leakin Park. And she was like, oh, no, not Leakin Park. That's where they find all the bodies. And I was like, oh my God, Mom, like, is that real? Blah, 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 And then I remember I was like, didn't know what to expect. And I get out there, and Leakin Park's beautiful, and it's a really great asset to this city. And, we had a great camping trip, and it taught me a lot about, you don't have to go far to gain the skills that you need to feel comfortable in the wilderness. All it takes is just stepping outside. So to wrap it up, I'm going to tell a story about a woman who is running from some tigers in the forest. She's walking around, and all of a sudden these tigers start chasing her. So she's running and running from these things, and she comes up to the edge of a cliff, and she's about to just kind of jump off the cliff when she sees at the bottom other tigers circling at the bottom of the cliff. So she grabs onto the edge as she's about to go over, and she's clinging onto all these wild strawberries and grasses and vines, and she's sitting there hanging. She's looking up, tigers above, looking down, tigers below, and right in between there's these ripe strawberries. So she picks a strawberry and she eats it and enjoys it. Thank you.
Aaron's also tall, so I'm going to try to keep it up here. Thank you, Dylan. So I do want to make a note that Lee Morton was initially going to be one of our speakers, but the thing with the outdoors is that he had an outdoor shoot that was supposed to be yesterday, and then today was his rain date, and so, well, you were all here yesterday. It rained yesterday, so he unfortunately couldn't make it this morning, but we're really excited that we have a wonderful alternate to be kind of filling in. It is a former speaker. So Erin Fostel was our speaker for Muse back in September of 2019, so you can check out her talk on our website, and we're very excited to have her back. Erin Fostel spent the first few years of life navigating the world with blurred vision. Since the moment she wore glasses, seeing things in focus for the first time, she's been consumed with the joy of observation and a love of drawing. In 2004, she received a BFA in drawing from the Maryland Institute College of Art. Her work has been featured in group and solo exhibitions both in the Mid-Atlantic region and nationally. She's the past winner of the Maryland State Arts Council Individual Artist Award and the Municipal Art Society of Baltimore City Travel Prize. Her drawings have been included in local and international publications as well as private and institutional collections. Her studio is based here in Baltimore. Creative Mornings Baltimore, please welcome back Erin to the stage.
Good morning. I'm going to tell a story about camping. In the fall of 2018, my friend Katie and I took a trip to Utah. Always on a budget, we packed 4 suitcases full of gear and camped during our entire 6-night stay. We were hoping to find some majestic views, and Utah absolutely delivered. I don't camp often, but Katie is a seasoned pro, and she took the lead, making the whole experience effortless. We were quite lucky with the weather for the majority of the trip. It was only on the 5th night that things got a little wild. On the 5th night, we stayed at the Lone Rock Campground, which is a primitive campsite that allows you to set up on a beach along the edge of Lake Powell. As we gently navigated our rental car down a slope and onto the beach, we noticed that we were surrounded by RVs. There were no other tents. There's plenty of space for us though, so we found a spot that had a great view. With our little 2-person tent pitched, we heated up some dinner. Our cell service had been a little spotty throughout the entire trip, but it hadn't been a real issue thus far. I usually like to check the weather to see if rain was forecasted, but without service, all I could do was look to the sky for clues. In Utah, you get a glorious amount of sky. It just spans in all directions, seemingly unending. It is quite a thing to see. On this particular evening, I watched thunderstorms roll through on either side of us. Too far away to be of concern, but definitely discomforting. When we were ready for bed, we got inside the tent and laid out in our sleeping bags. We had put on the rainfly, so we felt as prepared as possible for bad weather. We fell asleep. At some point later, I was woken up by something repeatedly hitting me. The wind was blowing so hard, the tent was folding down and whacking me on the leg. It was like whap, 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 over and over again. The wind was kicking sand up from the beach and tossing it under the rainfly and inside the tent. And as I lifted up my head to see what was hitting me, I was pelted in the face. I immediately laid back down and loudly whispered to Katie, "Are you awake?" And she replied with a muffled yes, as her sleeping bag was pulled over her face, no doubt protecting her from the sandstorm occurring around us. I remember thinking how unpleasant the situation was, but also that we were fine. Maybe 10 minutes later, the rain started. At first, it was a soft patter, barely audible over the wind, but quickly turned into a torrential downpour. The rainfly, thankfully, was keeping us dry, and it had stopped the sand from coming inside the tent, which felt like an improvement. Everything will be fine. Then the thunder and lightning started. Again, gentle at first, barely audible over the wind and the rain. When the flash would light up our tent, I would start my count of 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then boom! Katie and I briefly talked about our options. Could we run for the car and spend the night laying across the seats? It's a sedan, but not the roomy kind. The tent was still the better option. I was continuing the nonverbal counting of my Mississippis, and when I didn't get past finishing the word 1, I heard the loudest crack right above us. If we had any thoughts about getting out of the tent and running to the car, the window of opportunity seemed to have just passed. I happened to be sleeping on the windy side of the tent. As the thunder and lightning increased, so did the wind, and I could feel it trying to go underneath of us, and I could see the bottom of the tent starting to lift up off the ground. Had we made a dash to the car, the tent would have flown away without the weight of our bodies to keep it down. I did start to have the genuine concern that the tent might blow away with us inside of it. So I scooted to the very edge, turned over on my stomach, and laid out as far and as flat as I could. I actively pressed my body down to the ground. From fingertips to toe, every muscle worked to make my body stiff and heavy. The tent stopped lifting up. The wind was no longer able to go underneath of us. Still being whacked in the leg, I stayed in this position for the duration of the storm, occasionally nervously giggling at the absurdity of our situation. I am 5 feet 10 inches tall and weigh around 160 pounds. I am not small. I have always loved being tall, and my size has come in handy throughout my life, but never more so than on this camping trip. Katie is smaller than me. She is 6 inches shorter and 50 pounds lighter. If I was the same size as Katie, I am convinced that our tent would have lifted up off the ground and tumbled down the beach past the RVs. Katie seemed calm the whole time, so I never panicked. I was a little scared, but since I hardly ever camped, I think I assumed this was just something that might happen sometimes. You might spend the night in a tent during a thunderstorm. After the storm passed, I finally fell asleep. When I woke up in the morning, I unzipped the tent and I looked out to a beautiful view of the Lone Rock, sitting peacefully in the middle of the lake. The night before could have been a wild dream, but the inches of sand inside the tent confirmed its realness. When Katie woke up, we didn't talk much about the storm. The morning was so beautiful, and as it was our final day of adventuring, we had other things to discuss. After breakfast, we packed up and left. Soon we were headed home, back to Baltimore. The following year, Katie and I were at a happy hour, hanging out with some friends. So some related topic came up, and I began telling the story of that night on the beach. This was the first time Katie and I had talked about it, and at some point she shared that she had been really scared. I was surprised, as she had seemed so relaxed the entire time. I told her how her calmness had kept me calm, and she said the same. This notion continues to make us both laugh uncontrollably. We were in a tiny tent together, privately managing our nerves, and simultaneously, unknowingly convincing each other that everything would be fine. Katie and I are about to embark on another 6-night camping trip, this time to Maine, and I hope the weather cooperates, but if not, I'll have another story to tell.
Thanks, Erin. Yeah. All right. Hey, look at that. So, we have the final speaker for today. Last but not least, Chavise Glasgow is a Baltimore transplant from Gary, Indiana. From serving as an exercise physiologist, sorry, my bad, y'all, to wellness director, she's been dedicated to helping others not only achieve their health and wellness goals, but also improve their overall quality of life. Outside of work, Chavise finds her own balance and joy in spending time with her son, exploring new breweries, and tapping into her creative side with her blog and Instagram account, Flavor and Soul. Once dedicated to food, Flavor and Soul has now evolved into a lifestyle blog, and she's excited to share her new adventures with you all. So please welcome Chavise to the stage.
Awesome. For one, you all look fantastic today. I just want to give you a little gas before I get started. You guys look great. I'm looking like we're like a raisin in the sun. That's kind of how I felt in that chair. All right, so by a show of hands, how many of you have ever dealt with a creative rut? Writer's block, we're all there. It's a safe space. I'm there too. So when I was thinking of this month's theme, wilderness, I thought of it twofold. So on one hand, I'm thinking of the wilderness of our lives, our creative ruts, grief, loss, etc., and in the actual literal wilderness itself. So for today's talk, I actually took time to step back, reflect. Took time to step back and reflect and think about how going outside not only gave me beautiful scenery, but also helped me work through some of the most challenging times of my life. So, story time. All right, I'll just be honest. Healing and perfectionism, they mix together as well as oil and water. But little old Chavise, I had a little plan to do both and to do both well. So this is a point in my life when I was juggling chaos. So the chaos of grief, job loss, divorce, and a very extended phase of writer's block. Hence no blog posts for a while. Okay, so with this being said, I did what typical Chavise would do, and I created a healing action plan. Okay, I did all the things. I got the books, I downloaded the podcast, I set up all my therapy appointments. I was going to Excel spreadsheet my way into the next chapter of my life. No, I'm serious. I was as motivated. I was going to Elizabeth Gilbert, eat, pray, love my way to healing. But between motherhood and my actual bank account, the mess I was going to do was snack thinking like, okay? But my heart and my spirit was in the right place. So here I am, doing all the things. I'm devouring these books. I'm listening to all the podcasts. I have affirmational quotes coming out of my pockets, and I'm getting absolutely nowhere on my linear path to healing. So needless to say, So one day at my wit's end, completely frustrated, I grabbed my keys and my dying cell phone. I do not recommend taking your dying cell phone. And I walked out to go to a trail near my house. Now, I'm not new to nature. I have experience in hiking and camping, but it wasn't a part of Chavise's action plan. Yes, I'm speaking in third person. It wasn't a part of my healing plan, okay? So again, needless to say, very long, slow walk, very uncomfortably quiet, emotional, all the things. But it was very fulfilling. And also in this walk, it wasn't a pretty walk either. Now, the nature around me was beautiful. I'm talking about me, okay? You know those stock photos with the person's on the mountaintop and they're staring into the abyss and their arms are, I did not look like that, okay? I had some old sweatpants on, a frumpy shirt, and a baseball cap. But something very beautiful happened that day, and it actually was the catalyst to the next phase of my healing journey. So I learned that going out into the physical wilderness was going to allow me to work through some of my own personal turmoil. So that has been a part of my journey, and I learned a lot of lessons along the way, and I'm just going to share 3 of those lessons with you all, okay? So we're transitioning from story time to class time, okay? Summer school, fantastic. So lesson number 1. it changed my perspective very, very quickly. There's something humbling about going out in nature with you and your little bag of problems and just realizing how small you are in relation to the world around you. So my problems didn't go away, the pain didn't hurt any less, but that change in perspective made those mountains in my life turn more into molehills. And along with that, I started to develop a great sense of gratitude for the beauty around me, but also the beauty in my life. Second lesson I learned. So there's a special peace and quiet that you get that you're in nature. So walking and hiking solo with no podcasts and no music forced me to do this thing that I think a lot of us probably don't necessarily like to do all the time. Be alone with your thoughts. Yeah, I don't like that. So I had to sort through my emotions and sort through my thoughts. And usually I tried to drown that with noise. So with that being said, I learned a very, very powerful lesson in that experience, though. A lot of the answers and solutions I was searching for elsewhere actually was going to come from within me. And third lesson. Now, I'm sure you all have read The Room by now. That was a little bit of a control freak. It's okay, I'll own it. I'll take it on the chin. It's fine. But you can't control nature, okay? You can't be in somebody's national park thinking you're going to control the streams. You have to relinquish control, and you have to go with the flow and get through it. So I learned in that literal example, though, to let go of trying to control the outcomes of my life and also just to embrace it as it came. Also, when you start to let go, you actually get a little bit of peace. That's fantastic. Along with that, I actually was able to recharge and re-energize myself for more important tasks. So all in all, if you are in a creative rut or dealing with grief or any other challenges in life, the first thing I want you to do is actually give yourself some grace and some self-compassion. We give it away for free, but we need to give it to ourselves. And unfortunately, if you're like me and a little bit on the perfectionist side and you maxed out on all your alternatives, try to grab some sneakers, put on some SPF, especially today, and go out and commune with nature. Because in the midst of that wilderness, you may find the path out of your own wilderness. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Shaviz. Thank you to all of our speakers. Let's hear it for them. We're going to do a little Q&A now, so I would love to invite you all to sit in this set. Yeah, the couch is real cozy, y'all. So, Mario, what are we doing with these mics? Tell me what's happening.
You guys can share this guy.
Okay. So we're going to do, it's our opportunity for some Q&A. So if you have a question, we'd love to have you join this conversation. You can kind of raise your hand. Anyone to start? I can start. So thank you all so much for sharing your stories and your connections to wilderness. We are really excited to be here outside right now. And so one of the questions that I can start for each of you to answer is, what is your favorite season and why? I don't know what to do with the mics.
My favorite season, I think, fall. It's just because I haven't grew up with lots of seasons. So I grew up in Kuwait, and it's like summer and 10 days of winter. So.
All trip too is all. Well, primarily because I don't do this. Like the humidity, I don't do this. And then also like really extreme like ice and just the extremes. But spring, fall, it's crisp. I can go out and frolic. So yeah.
I'm going to say winter because global warming has made summer too hot, and I actually appreciate being cold now.
I was also going to say fall, but I think fall can be kind of hard for me emotionally because it's like this great death. So I'm going to say spring.
This is my mic. Oh, hey. So actually, Dylan, since you have the mic right now, you talk about like all the wilderness that is directly around here in Baltimore City. Can you speak a little bit more to that? And if somebody who's here now or watching later, they don't really know where to start, do you have like a starting recommendations?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much untapped potential for wilderness around us. And, you know, I spoke about Leakin Park, and Wyman Park is not far as well. Wyman Park was like one of the first parks in the United States that was like part of Johns Hopkins back in the day. But it's still a beautiful natural, you know, corridor in Baltimore. And there's also the reservoirs. So there's Loch Raven Reservoir, and then also Pretty Boy Dam. They have a network of trails all around them that are really beautiful. And I like the app All Trails. If you go on All Trails, you can find access to tons of really cool stuff. But there's like amazing rock climbing potential not far from here. Carter Rock is right outside DC, and it's like one of the oldest climbing areas in the country. People were climbing there before they were climbing in Yosemite. So there's a lot of really good stuff nearby.
Are you blocking sound, or do you have a question? Oh, okay. Here we go.
All right, thank you to all of our speakers. I have a great question for you guys. Nature, right? All right, I think we're past the helicopter. So my question to you all had great travel stories with wilderness, and kind of piggybacking off what Kira just asked, is there a wilderness or a nature activation you would like to see here in Baltimore?
As a biker, because I bike as a mode of transportation, and Baltimore is trying, but it would be nice if biking through Baltimore didn't feel so much like the wilderness a little bit. That would be cool if just like there were other types of transportation that could happen besides cars, because cars and cities is just so loud and terrible. And if like people like in a different, out of a car, on a bike, on a scooter, on their feet, on whatever they want to get around, then they could enjoy like the wilderness of the city in a way that would be really nice. You wouldn't have to go anywhere. You could just be less stressed about moving around where you live.
That was really good. I think I'm on the same boat. I mean, I'm always a fan of sidewalks, just in general, because there have been times where I would like walk or jog, and then there it is. It stops, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I run in this grass now, or in the busy street. So definitely, same thing with the bikes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm having. Oh, okay. We got a question over here.
So I have a question for bikes. Yes. So as a person who has a bike now, I started biking in Arizona that has a dedicated 126-mile path to just bikers and walkers, which is amazing. But I live in the city and would like to ride my bike in the city, but it's a little scary. Is there anywhere that shows us online where the bike paths are now on the city roads? Or can you recommend an area of the city that has a bike path to start with? I could drive there, ride on that little path till I get comfortable. Anywhere to start?
I am probably not the best person to answer that. There's some cycle tracks that are getting put in, like the Maryland Avenue cycle track is really a glorious thing because it takes you just straight north and south. There's some great ones that go east and west, but they do not connect. And so to get to the cycle track is often a very, daunting task. So I'm not sure. I think since I cycle as like a mode of transportation, I have to just leave my house and then just be on the street. And that was definitely a very daunting task when I first started. But I had a lot of friends who also did it, and we would go on group rides. And so we would, as a group, be in the city and just moving around. And like that really helped me become more comfortable with being around cars. Because yes, cars are terrible, and you hear horror stories of like, all kinds of stuff happening. But generally speaking, like most of the time it's fine. Like I have pleasant experiences all the time. You just have to you definitely have to work up to having the nerve to get around Baltimore drivers. But tonight I will plug, because April just told me about this, is Bike Party. And it's the Pride Bike Party. And so you get to bike around with probably hundreds of other people, and you will be in the street. So it won't be like biking in the street. It'll be like you are taking over the street. But that could be a really nice way just to sort of acclimate to just like being on a bike in the city in a way that is really safe and is really hella fun. And I think you meet at like St. Mary's Park. They say 7, but you're not going to leave till 7:30. And so that's a really nice ride that, you know, I would highly recommend. But otherwise, if you want to like do like a group ride with somebody, like I definitely, if you want to connect after this, like we can totally talk. And my husband is a city council person who is like the biggest bike proponent there is. And if he was here, he'd be like, give me this mic and I will tell you all these things. But I can connect you to better answers to the question that you just asked.
Yeah, bike party. I'm going to go tonight, too. It's going to be great. Everybody should come to bike party tonight. It's always the last Friday of the month. We are running up against time, and I want to make sure everybody has like a great Baltimore morning and still gets to take a picture if they want, eat some more eats, drink some more drinks. But kind of like a closing question, just a general question for all of you is, how can people follow you, be connected to you? What do you have coming up next? Tell us more. This is plug time.
I am planning a trip to Grayson Highlands in Virginia next on a bouldering adventure. I am also taking a mindfulness meditation teacher training certification through Dharma Moon and Tibet House. So I will be bringing meditation classes at some point in the future to Baltimore.
You can find me on Instagram, which is the only social media platform I mess with, at Erin Fostel. I'm a full-time artist, and so I have a lot of like art things I could plug, but everything is happening outside of Baltimore. But I have my first solo show happening outside of the state of Maryland in July, which I'm like hella excited about. But otherwise, I'm on Instagram, and if you want to connect with me about anything, especially bike-related, just hit me up after this.
Okay, so when I said I had writer's block, that was a real thing. That just wasn't to sound nice. You can find me on Instagram as Flavor and Soul for more content and updates and funny stories. If you actually click the link in the bio, this speech was turned into a blog post, and it's just going to be funny stuff from there on. So if you want to just follow me and see how it is to snack thinking like, follow me at Flavor and Soul.
I would say follow Mira Kitchen Collective. We have our 5-year anniversary next Thursday if you're interested to get tickets. I work there all the time.
Yay! Thank you again to all of you. Thank you to our speakers. Thank you to our sponsors. I do want you to save the date for Friday, July 22nd, which will be our next event. We'll be welcoming Latoya M. Hobbs to the Creative Morning stage, and she's going to be giving a talk about spirituality. And we want to end this our time together with a little bit of gratitude and a collective breath. So if you all want to get comfortable, like put your hands on your knees if you want, or stand, whatever feels comfortable on your belly. We're going to take 3 breaths together, okay? All right, so breathe in and out, in and out, and one more, in and out. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning. Please do get yourself some more coffee, tea, or a snack before leaving, and we'll see you next month.